Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so exciting to be with you on tonight. I have some awesome information in store for you. We made it. We're at the end. We're at the final chapter, and I am super excited. Congrats to you. Give yourselves a hand. You made it through all 4 weeks of this awesome, amazing, life changing series. So, welcome formally to another week with Jackie Denise Breaking Bondage. You are in for a treat. Let's get set up here, get everything going. If you can see me and everything's all good. We had so many technical problems last week. We are ready to roll this week. Give me a hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're listening. Let me know you're there. And we'll get started. Okay, guys? I would like you to, let's go back. Let me close out of here. I would like you to invite your friends, family, share this with them. All my people who are watching this on replay, I know we're live. You are awesome and amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Even if the time didn't work for you, you put in the work, you went back, and you are looking at this now. And this tonight, say it with me, tonight is the night. This is going to be one of the most amazing, the richest chapters there of the four. Can I say that? All of them were loaded. They're all really rich. They're also loaded, and they're all great. But I want to dive right in. So, of course, with the end and coming to the end, we always have to look at our beginning. We have to go back to where we started. And that's how this chapter ends. It ends with the beginning. We started out with our can't even say it, Arcad. You guys remember him? He was the guy who was the richest man in Babylon, and he learned everything that he knew from the tax collector who came in, the money lender who came in and asked him to scribe for him. Guys, remember, go back if you don't remember to part 1. We are at part 4, the final part, all right? Anyway, Arcad appears again in this chapter. Well, not in this chapter, so to speak, but his name's brought up. This chapter opens with a simple choice. And there's this guy who presents the choice. His name is Caleb, and he presents the choice to his slaves, his men. As you can tell, yes, he's wealthy. He has 27 slaves. That'll give you an idea of how much wealth he has, right? So he asks them this simple question. If I had a bag of gold or a bag of clay tablets, and remember, they used to write upon clay tablets, or a bag of clay tablets filled with wisdom, words of wisdom, wise words that you could use that would change your life. And I said you could pick one or the other. Which would you choose? The bag of clay tablets, or would you choose the bag of gold? Quite naturally, what do you think they all said? Of course, they want the bag of gold. And he says, God doggone it. I want you guys to think about this. He says, think about a wild pack of dogs, right? And they're hungry, and they're gnawing at each other, and they're just snapping at each other and going around in a circle. And awesome, thanks. I see you now, and I'm sorry, there's a slight delay on my comments, but I see you. Yes, of gold, a bag of gold. Thank you, Karina. But these dogs, they're starving, right? He says, if I throw, and just imagine this, if I throw something out to eat, what are they going to do? What do you guys think? A pack of savage dogs snapping at each other, hungry, mad, because the hunger has just taken over. What do you think they're going to do? Absolutely, absolutely good. They're going to attack the meat. They're going to fight, and then they're going to strut about. And then, bigger than anything, they're not going to even think about tomorrow. How am I going to eat tomorrow? They're going to absolutely devour it. You're absolutely right. He says they're not thinking about tomorrow is coming and maybe I should save some for tomorrow. They're thinking, I want to eat it today. So he opens with that story, and he tells his guys, listen, I want to share something with you. And of course, you always have stories. What do you have for us tonight? He says, yeah, but I appreciate you taking this journey with me. I appreciate your service. I appreciate that when robbers came, you guys fought them off. I appreciate you've been loyal to me. I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate your hard work and you all. So I want to share something with you that you've never ever heard before. And this is where he gets into it. He says, when I was a little boy, I was with my master, Namasir. And Namasir and I had a job dealing with carpet. And we had the task that we had the job of taking in this carpet to a guy so he could pick which color he wanted, and then he would, keep the carpet. And that guy's name was Archive. You got it? Yeah, somebody guessed it. Yeah, so he says that. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Because I'm mixing up details. See, I'm trying to give you all a summary, remember the details, and remember all the highlights I want to definitely get to tonight. And, okay, let's go back. Kebab is talking to his guys, and I'm just reviewing, guys. Oh, by the way, this is our book, that we've been using it, Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm at the Treasures of Babylon, okay? So, anyway, let me take that back. Okay, backing up. Now, we have Calabab, who's telling his man of a story that occurred when he was a little boy. And he and his master was servicing a guy named Namasir. Namasir was now one of the richest men in Babylon. And Namasir happens to be Arkad's son. And so the little boy, which is Calabab today, telling the story, was working with his master, and they worked with fine rugs and carpet. Let me move past that. I'm beating a dead horse, right? Okay. So they go into Namasir, and they notice how wealthy he is, how rich he is. And Namasir says, oh my gosh, you guys are working so hard. Come in, sit down. You have to eat with me. And of course, the conversation starts at, when you guess it, how did you get so rich? Now here, Calabab at the time was a little boy sitting at the table and taking all of this in. And he listened attentively, even as a young lad with not a lot of money. He didn't have anything. He's a kid, right? He listened attentively. He stored all of these treasures in his heart, and he later used them when he was a grown man. And now he's talking to his 27 slaves. Okay? So let's see what he learned. And I call this the train your children part. He, let's go back. As Calabab, and remember, he's a little boy sitting at the table with Namasir, the son of Arkad, who's now a very wealthy man in Babylon. And he's listening to this story that Namasir is telling them of how he obtained his riches. And he opens with, let me go back. Namasir says, I want to tell you the tale. It is our custom in Babylon that the children would remain in their parents' house, respectfully so, being nice, good, beautiful children, following all the rules, never ever wanting to lose the respect of their parents. And as custom, they would wait to receive their inheritance. All that their parents have would be given unto them. And it's, goes on and on and on and on, passed down from generation to generation. Namasir goes on to say, however, my father decided he did not want to honor that custom. Even though it's Babylonian tradition, my father said absolutely not. Now, if you think back, you may have to rewind back to part 1. When Arkad met the moneylender tested Arkad. And in the end, Arkad passed all the tests, and the moneylender told Arkad, hey, because you have proven yourself worthy, I have several sons. I'm not leaving anything to them. I'm going to leave it all to you. And sometimes you have to skip over your kids. You can't just give them what they have. I'm telling you, it's one of those where you have to make that choice. Hi, Antonio. Big ups to you. Give me a thumbs up. Share it to your page for me. Thanks for tuning in. So getting back, that was the beginning, and here we are today. Now, with today, Namasir, Arkad's son, again, is sharing with young Caleb. I can never say that. Calabab, this story, and he explains to him, my father said, forget that tradition. And he told me, son, I want you to go out and I want you to do two things. I want you to both show your ability to acquire wealth and make yourself respected among men. Now, I'm not a man, but how in the world do you make yourself respected among men? He said, you do these two things, son. Go out. And when you come back after having accomplished these two things, then you will have proved yourself worthy to have all that I had. And at this time, his father was the richest man in Babylon and owned pretty much everything. So, of course, Namasir, who's telling the story, says he left and his father said, I'm going to set you up really well. Now, again, this is training your children. Teach them well, send them out. He says, the next step, give them a start. His father, Arkad, said, I'm not going to send you out empty-handed. I want you to take two things with you. Take this bag of gold and this bag that has clay tablets full of wisdom that will carry you all the days of your life and you won't have to struggle. So, of course, Namasir is excited. He leaves out. He goes into the world. Now, before he leaves, his dad tells him, I want you to stay out there for 10 years. And in 10 years, come back, tell me what you have done with the money that I have given you. And I need to make sure you can do those two things. Learn how to acquire money and learn how to make thyself respected among men. Now, he grew up in royalty and richness and everything. He's watched his father all of his life. He's waited on his inheritance the day his dad would say, here's everything. And his dad shocks him and say, get out there and get it for the next 10 years. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. You will not believe what happens next. In 10 years, he returns. Oh, my gosh. He returns with a wife and two sons. And you guys, yes, I'm going to just tell you. I was going to ask you to read the next part and we were going to skip, but I can't hold it. You know, I got to tell you. I'm super excited. So he returns to his father and he says, his father and mother take the throne. They say, hey, your son is approaching. And they are super excited to see him. And they it's been 10 years and they want to hear what's going on. So his father speaks first and he says, okay, son, 10 years has passed. Let me know in great detail what you've learned while you've been out there, and let me know if you accomplished the two things and how. How he did it is gonna blow your mind. Even though this was written over, this occurred over 5,000 years ago, guys. This is still very relevant to us today. So, of course, he starts off with telling his dad, well, father, initially I went out there and I took the gold that you gave me. And though you gave me liberally of the gold, I went through it all. It fell through my hands. He said, I made some horrible mistakes. He said, the first thing that I did, oh my gosh, it was absolutely amazing. Let me go back. He said, the first thing that I did with the gold was, and first he thanked his dad for putting the gold in his hand. And then he said, I met a caravan of people. I joined a caravan of people. And I went along with them and I met some really awesome people in this caravan. And they had a horse and they bragged on how this horse could outspeed every horse known to man. And they were on their way to a city called Nineveh and they were going to race another guy's horse. And this guy bet his horse against everybody and said that his horse will absolutely win, hands down. Nobody could beat his horse. And they convinced him, Namasir, to invest with them in their horse and put their money up against that guy. Well, he said, as you would imagine, their horse was badly beaten and he lost much of his gold because he invested more than half of it. His father just cracked up laughing at him. He says, and I have to admit to you, I later discovered that it was a scam. It was, the entire thing was a deceitful plan. They were in cahoots with the guy in Nineveh. He would split the winnings with him. It was all a big charade. The first lesson that he learned was deceit, and that taught him to look out for himself. And then he said he was really, really upset about it. But he still had, a little less than half of his bag of gold, which, was very, very wealthy. He was very wealthy still. He said, so I'm in this town. I'm half my money broke. Half my money broke. I lost half my money, and I am trying to figure out how to make this work. I can't go home. I got to figure this out. Again, he's got to stay out 10 years. So in Nineveh, while in there, he meets another guy, and this guy's really excited, and he says, hey, you can stay here. The shopkeeper has to close down his business. We could buy it. We could be equal partners. And he convinces Namasir that they should do this, go into this venture. They can own a store, own a business together. And he says, my money is back in Babylon. I'm going to go get my half. We're going to come back. We're going to buy the shop. And then he says, oh my gosh, the guy is going to sell now. We have to move right now. Put my share up. I'll go back and you invest everything up front. I'll go get my money, and then we'll use it for the supplies, the upkeep, the maintenance, blah, 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 blah. Now, what do you think happened? This is so us, right? This is today. We get excited about quick things that are popping up, new trends, new fads, and we jump on it, So he says, oh my gosh, let me tell you, he never did go to Babylon. He kept putting it off and putting it off. It's crazy. He keeps putting it off, and finally, Namasir can't take it anymore, and he kicks the guy out. He says, look, this is not a partnership. I put up the money. This is all me. You're out. You got me. He just takes that and says, I'm going to have to take the L. You're absolutely horrible. It's absolutely nuts. So can you imagine his mindset at this point? He invested the rest of the money that his father had given him into this shop. He put everything that he had into this business, right? And it didn't work. How many of us have ever started businesses, have ever followed our dream, have ever sold in our all, and then something keeps coming up, right? And we didn't have the cushion set aside because we dove all in. We put everything in, right? So this is what he did. So soon after, he says, and he's telling this story to his father and his mother. He says, listen, Father, these were sore, bitter days and sore, bitter times, and I lost everything. Eventually, I had to just sell the shop so that I can eat. I sold my royal robes so I could have a place, a roof to put over my head. I had to sell the camel. I had to sell everything that I had to feed myself, and I was without. He said, it was really hard on me. And at this time, his mother drops her head and she's crying. And you can imagine looking at your son, because you're thinking, oh my God, he came back. He had to tell us he failed, right? He failed. And so he says, but Father, I remember that you gave me a second bag. And this one I had absolutely nothing. And in that second bag, what I say was in there? What did Dad give him? He gave him a bag of gold and another bag of what? Who remembers? Hey, Jess. Hey, guys, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up while you're typing and telling me what was in that other bag. Make sure you share this to your page. This is great information. The Babylonians have been doing this since the beginning of time, and they were among the richest people in the world. And here it is laid out before us, and just a simple step-by-step guide, guys. All right, what do we got? Let me look at my comments. Let's see. You guys are slacking on me. He gave him the bag of clay tablets. With it was written on wisdom that would carry him for the rest of his life, which his father advised him of when he left with the bag of gold 10 years prior. So he recalled that his father gave him that bag. And he says to his father and his mother, again, he's explaining what happened with what they gave him. He said, and I'm going to read this. I'm on page 94 for those of you following along with the book. He says, at this time, I bethought me of the tablet thou had given to me, upon which thou had carved the 5 laws of gold. Thereupon I read most carefully thy words of wisdom, and realized that had I but sought wisdom first, my gold would not have been lost to me. I learned by heart each law, determined that when once more the goodness of good fortune smiled upon me, I would be guided by the wisdom of the age and not by the inexperience of my youth. That's powerful. This is what he's saying to his parents. For the benefit of you who are seated here tonight, and again, he goes on to say, I learned what was written on those 5 tablets. I'm going to share each of those 5 things with you guys. These are called the 5 laws of gold. And this is the lesson that Namasir learned. Remember, Caleb is telling this to his 27 slaves, servants, workers who's helping him as he's traveling to another city. Keep that in mind, it's very important. Let's review the 5 laws of gold. And this was in the other bag that his father gave him. Number 1, gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man whosoever will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. Number 1, we reviewed this over and over and over in each part. 1/10. A part of yours is yours to keep. 1/10 of everything that you earn. I don't care what's due. I don't care who you owe. I don't care if you're in a negative. Every time you get $1, put one dime in a basket. 1/10 of every bit of your income that comes in your household goes into a savings plan. You must do this. It is vitally important. Remember in part 3, the guy with the basket of eggs started off with 10 eggs every day. We said take out 9, leave 1. At the end of the month, how many eggs do you think he had with doing that every single day? As his basket began to overflow. Same concept. Every dime you make, keep 1/10 to yourself. I don't care who you owe what to. Okay? That's rule number 1. Gold also, by the way, means money today. Do I need to say that? No, you knew that. Okay. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Number 2, gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. What does that mean? It means that your money will work for you. Gold means money. Laboreth means work diligently. Your money will work diligently for you as a wise owner of it, and it will multiply and multiply and multiply. And we'll talk about that in a minute when we get into investments and so on and such. Now, step number 3, gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. That's step number 3. We're going to invest. Okay. So that money that you're setting aside and setting aside and setting aside, we're going to invest it, right? And if you don't know what to invest in, find a wise man who does. Don't make the mistake Arkai did in part 1. He went and found a bricklayer and gave his money to the bricklayer to go buy him jewelry. No, we're not doing that. That's like needing a dentist and going and find a mechanic to work on your mouth. We just don't do that, okay? But you need counsel, you need mentors, and you need advisors, experts in the field, because if that's not your area, you'll get had and you'll throw your money away. Step number 4, almost there. Gold slippeth away from the man who invested in business or purposes with which he's not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. Again, I kind of jumped the gun on the last one, but you want to invest in a purpose that you're familiar with, okay? So gold, number 5, I didn't say that. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers. What does that mean? Do not run after everything that glitters. It's not golden. Do not invest your money into inexperienced desires. Don't say, oh, I have to have that $300 pair of shoes. It's not your time yet. You have not earned that yet. Yeah, you work day and night. Yeah, you know what? But it's your business. You should be the first one there and the last one to leave. And when your money can make money for you, It's still not time. Don't throw the party yet. Take that money and then invest that money so that you now have your principal, that initial investment you never ever touch, and you're using the money that has now compounded. Okay. We spoke of compound interest in part 2. I went into great detail. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can catch that replay. But what we call our money is our kids, and we make our slaves or our kids, and then we make the kids earn. So now our grandchildren is the money that we use, and the grandchildren makes kids. And when you get to the 3rd and 4th generation, then you could go buy that pair of shoes if you so choose to. But until your money makes money for you, no, you haven't even earned time to vacation. You haven't earned the time. And once you adopt that mindset, instead of all my time, I deserve everything. I work hard. Okay, yes, but it's not time yet. Otherwise, you'll be working to party, working to go broke in a month, working to throw your money away. That is not how we obtain freedom. Remember, this is breaking the bondage of being broke. Okay, I don't like it. I'm dealing with some stuff right now, and I tell you, I'm using this. I'm applying this. I will never, not ever, be in this situation ever again. And you have to have that mindset. You have to have that willpower. You have to have that want to. I'm going to do this at all costs. It makes no sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me. Shall we continue? I want to tell you how the story ends that Namasir explained to his parents. He says, I pulled out the tablet and I read these 5 laws, and I wish that I had. He said, I found myself now never having worked in my life, having a job. But because I was a good leader, I got a job as a supervisor. And basically, I was overseeing the jobs of and the job of other people. And he explained to his parents, every single dime he made, he followed the 5 rules on the tablet. He kept a tenth for himself, and he would use the rest to store, to live off of. Remember, we learned that in part 2 as well. You live off of 70%, you pay your debt to a 20%, and you put away 10 for yourself, a minimum of 10. So at any rate, he goes on to tell his parents, after the chain of disaster came to an end, how many of us know trouble don't last always? At some point, it's going to come to an end. So he explains to them, I got a job. And one of the older fellas noticed that I was taking all of my money and saving it. And he said to me, hey, you don't spend your money on frivolous things. And I see you're very responsible. How many people know that people will take notice of you and your habits and your lifestyle and your ways? Other people will start to look around and he's not into the fanciest car, the nicest clothes, the this, the that. Okay, you know what? This is a Christian-based teaching series and channel. I have to say this because I'm so led to say this to you who are listening, it's not even in relation, but it's heavy upon me. New Year's is coming. And so many people, this is their mindset. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go buy the best outfit I could buy so I can keep up with the Joneses, so I can compete with total strangers who I don't even know. And I'm going to go to this smoked out, crowded club, and I'm going to bring in a new year with an old raggedy mindset that I have to compete with other people, that I have to impress people with blingy outfits that I couldn't afford, and that I don't even know, or people who don't even care about me. Why on God's green earth does that make any sense whatsoever? And come on, we've been there, but at what point do we graduate? At what point do we elevate? At what point do we change our mindset? That's what this is about. That's what Namasir said. I got to do something differently, guys. I've squandered everything. I've gone through everything I had. I've got to do something differently. So anyway, that was a sidebar. That was a bonus. That's just for you. Okay. Let's get back to the story. So here he is, and this guy takes notice of him, and he says, listen, me and a group of fellas, we invest our money into worthy causes, worthy things. He said, we got this plan coming up. This right now, not their president, but our king is rebuilding the walls. And we noticed that those walls are going to have gates, going to need gates to close and open. There's no iron makers here. in our city. So we've gone out, pooled all our money together, and we bought all the iron from afar off. And we are going to present to the king at the end of the building of the walls. We're gonna shoot our shot, we're gonna shoot our spiel and say, hey, why don't you buy the iron from us? And even if the king says, no, I don't want your iron, I'm gonna sell it at a fair price to everybody. Either way, we win-win, there's no loss, right? Hi, thanks for tuning in. Thumbs up, and share to your page for me. Shout out to you, Shatoya. Thank you. So this is their plan. The walls of the city were built, and they all turned a worthy profit. And I mean, it was significant. The king bought all of their metal and iron, and they took the money from that, and they didn't party yet. It's not party time. It is not time. Remember what I just said. He says, if you trust me, Namasir, I see you're working hard. You see what I said came true. We're going to now take that money and we're going to invest into something else. And so they did that over and over and over and over. How many of us know it matters who we're surrounded by, right? It matters who's in our circle. It matters who feeds our mind and who fuels us. It absolutely is important. So here we go. As you would know, as luck would have it, I don't believe in luck. As wisdom, as he took in all of the 5 lessons, and as he learned, his money began to increase rapidly. And now he's with a group of fellas, and they invest as a group. And he did some individual investing on his own, but it was all wise. It was all at the counsel of others. Wisdom is found in the multitude of counsel. And he had learned the valuable lessons. So now he stands before his father, and he says, Father, I stand before you. And he motions over to one of his guys and says, here's 1 bag of gold, and this gold is for what you gave me when I set out 10 years ago. I have learned a valuable lesson. I have learned to acquire money, which is one of the 2 things that you told me you wanted me to learn. And so here I am giving you and repaying you back for the 1 bag of gold that you gave me. And then he signaled for another guy to come up, and he says, come on here. The other guy brought in 2 bags, and he said, Father, for the clay tablets with the 5 laws, I'm going to give you 2 bags of gold. And although this is worth far more than what I'm presenting to you, I want to depict or show you that the value that I place on the tablets is far greater than that I place on the gold. Hope you didn't miss that. What did he learn? What is he saying? What is he saying to us today? It's more valuable to acquire wisdom and apply the wisdom to our lives. And so with that, his father said, my son, I am well pleased. You have more than learned your lesson. You have learned how to acquire money. You have gained the respect of me, your father, and of men. With that being said, everything that I have, I give unto you. Ah, yay! He steps off the throne and the crown goes, wow. Okay, I'm silly. I love it. He gets everything. Now remember, Caleb is telling this story to his 27 servants. And of course, he gets to the end. They're excited. They're celebrating. Oh, that is the greatest story. Now, what is he doing? What is he doing? He says, all right, guys, let's pack everything up. We're going into Babylon. And that's the city they were actually going into. He says, one of the wealthiest cities in the world. And you 27 have been with me since the beginning. I'm going to pay you very handsomely, each one of you, for your service that you have done for me. And then some. So the 27 of them received right then their pay. What do you suppose, or what percentage of the 27 do you suppose actually got it? Why did he give them the money right after he told them this story? What do you think he's hoping for, and how many do you think actually got it and listened? It doesn't tell us. I know, I wanted to know too. I just wanted you to kind of think about that. But he says to them, I'm giving you this bag of gold, and you have the 5 laws. You have the wisdom. I don't want you, get this, to be like the pack of wild dogs who go and spend all of your money and The next day, you don't know how you're going to eat. Think about that. What a blessing. What a gift. He says, with this, I want to give you the wisdom and the money. So I want you guys to take that, keep that. That is the 5 laws of gold, and memorize them, learn them, write them down. Go on YouTube, Google them, guys. This was an excellent read, The Richest Man in Babylon. I told you guys that we're going to be moving on to what's next? I'm sorry, let's see. I got comments coming in on my other on Facebook. Okay, we were going to be moving on to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I'm kind of struggling with that. We're supposed to start next week, and I told you I would also give you some tips on businesses that you can start um, with little to no money down. Okay, now I want you to apply these concepts that we learned, and I don't have a whole lot of time to recap everything. I do want you to go back and watch the replay from part 1 through part 4. Guys, this is life-changing stuff. But what I want you to do, I want you to take this to heart and apply the concepts. I'm going to go over really quickly a couple of side hustles that you can use and turn into money. And then I want you to take that money and use it. Don't spend it yet. Set it aside. And that's going to be the start of your cushion. Now, couple of hustles. Yard sale. You got a bunch of junk in your room, in your garage, in your basement. You have clothes. Now, I'm not talking about the old school, old fashioned set out tables like it's Saturday. No, social media is your friend. Post your old shoes, call them vintage. People will buy them like crazy. Your old clothes, load them up, take them to Play-Dohs, get money for them. Things that you have like that. Go to your aunt's house, your grandma's house, your cousins. Ask them, say, hey, do you have anything? It's winter. You want to get away your summer clothes or your spring or your fall? Give them to me. Go do it, whatever it takes. Go and Uber, do Instacart. I don't know. Those are little hustles that you could do to earn money. Another thing, this is really simple. I heard this, I never forgot it. There was this guy, actually, I was at my mom's, and he knocks on her doors, and he's a guy with a stencil and a can of spray paint. I kid you not. He says, hey, I'm going around and I'm just spray painting people's addresses from their house to in front of your house on the cement where the mailbox is. And it helps law enforcement and fire department personnel and emergency personnel to find your house when it's dark or you have an emergency. I'm doing this for everybody, and I only charge $25. If that, you know how many houses that's in my mother's subdivision. So he literally made $25 each house, and with a stencil and a black can of spray paint. And guess what? He came back after about 4 or 5 months when he thought it may have dulled or dimmed or kind of washed away or faded away. And he did the same thing again. I kid you not. With just our mom's U-shaped subdivision, I know he had to make at least $500-$600 with all the homes that's in that subdivision, right? Because who's going to say, no, I don't need emergency personnel to be able to see me. And he had his methods of payment available. Have your methods of payment: Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, all of those, Apple Pay, Google Pay, get them all, right? Another side hustle that you can use to make money. And it's really awesome. And they're doing a lot of those. What do you call those people who do the surveys, the test, I don't want to call it this because it sounds terrible, guinea pigs. Okay. They have it now to where you can do those online. So you're not going in poked and probed and staying in somebody's study group and getting injected with all kind of weird stuff. No, and I'm not knocking anybody if that's what you do. Hey, you're still breathing, keep doing it, okay? However it takes for you to get this initial cushion. What am I doing this for? Why do I want you to experience this? Because I need you to experience what it's like to start, okay? You have to do something differently from what you've been doing. And that's how we begin this to crush and break the bondage of being broke. That's where we start. by doing something different. Okay. Again, this has been very, very, very heartfelt to me. I've learned a lot. I wanted to share it with you. I began by starting it with my kids, and I said, you know what? I'm going to share it with the world. Let's do Breaking Bondage to Being Broke, because 2022 is coming. And it is December 5th, 2021 at the time I'm making this broadcast. Guys, get the book, read it, give it as a Christmas gift. Help somebody change their life, change their financial situation. Okay. I am going to go ahead and move forward with the Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, let me preface that by saying this. I know that fairly recently, is December 5th, 2021. He has been the author. I'm not even going to say his name. Says some not so nice things about African Americans and poor people. Now, he sucks for that. However, his content is legit, it's right, and it is worth teaching or peeking at. I'm not going to do all 10 chapters, but I will highlight in groups, because I think we have 3 weeks left this year. So I'll kind of batch it and just hit highlights in 3 chapters each week. I think that's how I'm going to do it. But guys, we want to go into the new year with a new mindset, starting on New Year. Get in a warm, comfortable place, surrounded by people who love you and are of a like mind. If you want to toast in the year, do it with somebody who's in your corner. Okay? Just because they're in your circle don't mean that they're in your corner. Get with people who are for you. And they may not be against you or saying I'm against you. They may be friendly and just they don't know any better. So they're against you. You understand what I mean? They are not leading you in they're not adding to you. So that means they're against you. They have nothing to contribute. That means they're against you. You need to get in a circle that's more receiving and will feed and fuel your mind. Okay. All right. And that's how we break the bondage of being broke. I want to thank you for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate your time. Thank you for staying with me this entire series. Send this to somebody you like. Send this to somebody who, you know, who always asks to borrow money from you. Just, just, I'm telling you, life changing. Give it as a Christmas gift. I kid you not. Give it as a New Year's present. People will love it. Oh, let me get to my comments. Let's get to the comments before I tune off. Let's see. Karina, let's see. I cannot be left on a cliffhanger. I'm excited to follow along with you. To learn the steps better for my financial happiness. God bless you for this wholehearted willingness. Thank you, Karina. That's absolutely awesome. Let's see. Let's get that out of here. It's not. There we go. There we go. It's not letting me. It doesn't like me. Okay. It's